Greetings everyone, my name is Numlauf, and today we are going to be taking a look at the SA58 OSW assault rifle. As you may have noticed, I made it so that you could vote for the weapon you wanted to see on my last weapons video. And since so many of you guys did that, I'm considering just continuing this trend, as it's a good way for me to choose my next weapon, instead of just choosing one of the requests. But without further ado, let's head right into it. Up close, this weapon will be dealing 34 damage, landing it at 3 shots to kill. This will drop down to 22 damage, landing it at 5 shots to kill. This is some numbers we haven't encountered in this series yet, so that's always pretty exciting. And I bet that's also why you guys voted for the weapon, as it does make it pretty unique, only really sharing this benefit with like the Scar H and the PKP. Another unique number that this gun has, which we might as well cover while we're going at it, is that its headshot multiplier is actually 1.5 instead of the 1.4 that we've seen so far. This does actually mean that the weapon is able to two-shot someone if you're hitting both bullets in the head at a close distance. And speaking of distances, here's a graph I made. For a weapon which only has an average range, this weapon sure does have a fucking good range. This is very much due to its high damage and ability to not drop below 5 shots to kill. It is actually comparable to a weapon like the MSBS, even though the MS has one of the best ranges in the game. Another unique feature about this weapon is how the range modifiers work on it. Because of its shots to kill being 3 to 5, the precision barrel never really gets to take over like it does for most of the other weapons. It does still outperform the modified rifling by 1 meter, however this is definitely one of the most ideal weapons for you to put the modified rifling attachment on. To give you guys a visual representation, this is the furthest distance of which you'll be able to 3-shot people. And this is the distance of which you start needing 5 shots to kill. So far this might sound all well and dandy, however before you go into a game expecting to mow down snipers on any distance, do keep in mind that one of the drawbacks of this gun is actually the recoil. Not only is it fast, but it's also pretty unpredictable. So while I do very much like the Ironsight on this weapon, it just isn't all that user friendly at a medium and long distance. Interestingly enough though, the high recoil doesn't actually arise from its fire rate, as it's only 600 rounds per minute. This is very much in the lower end of fire rate for the automatic weapons in the game. This together with its damage though does put it at a time to kill of 0.294 seconds up close and a 0.455 seconds at a distance. Comparing this to the average assault rifle, you can actually see that it performs pretty damn well. Especially at a distance, if you are to hit those bullets that is, which can be pretty tricky. As for the hipfire of the weapon, it's actually fairly good, when it comes to accuracy that is. It's easier to control than when you're aiming down sight, and the spread of the bullets isn't all that bad. The issue arises when you take the fire rate into account, and also the fact that just one bullet hitting their arm or their leg will take your shots to kill down, because the weapon is only barely able to 3-shot people, so any reduction in damage will take it down to 4 shots. Some other stats you may be interested in knowing is that the reload speed for the gun with bullets still left in the chamber is 2.8 seconds, and without any bullets left, it's 3.4 seconds. This will be taken down to 1.9 seconds with bullets still left in the chamber if you're using the quick reload perk, and 2.3 seconds without any bullets left in the chamber. By default this weapon holds 20 rounds, and you will bring 100 bullet with you into combat. The 20 rounds can be extended to 25 through the use of an attachment. I like to think of this gun as a very contradicting weapon. This is because it has some very impressive strengths. However, the weaknesses tend to make it so that you can't really make use of the strengths all that well. The range is pretty good at first sight because of the high damage, however because of the high recoil as well, it's pretty hard to actually make use of it. The same goes for the hipfire, which is very accurate, however if you are to hit just one bullet in a damage reducing area because of the spread of the gun, you will lower your time to kill by quite a bit. You may also seem to have a lot of attachment options for the gun, however at the same time you can feel very limited because you have to compensate for some of the weaknesses. As for my recommendations for the weapon, I'd say try out a round without the scope and see what you think, because personally I really like the Ironsight It's just the fact that it's so hard to use at a medium to long distance. So really I do recommend you put a sight on the weapon, but try out the Ironsight at least once. As for your second attachment, I know I did tell you guys that I love extended mags and I would probably run it on every gun if I had the chance. I do feel like it's not necessary on this weapon. It's definitely doable, but with the slow fire rate and its ability to kill in few bullets, it isn't as needed, so while it's good, you can definitely go another route. That other route could potentially be something to help you deal with the recoil of the weapon, like the muzzle breaker or the compensator. However, if you feel like this scope does a good enough job of helping you hit your bullets, you can try and get as much out of your range as possible by equipping either the precision barrel or the modified rifling attachment. So all in all, it's a weapon with a lot of potential, and the rounds you play with it where you do actually reach its maximum potential, it can feel really good to use. Now I do believe that's everything I need to cover for this weapon. I do appreciate if you're one of the people who took your time to vote for the weapon you wanted to see in my video. I will likely put a link in the description so you guys can keep on doing that. But until next time, take care. Watch the guard. The guard that. Oh.
Kaboom.
Oh.
Kaboom.
Oh.
Kaboom.
That just gave me some school shooter vibes. Really sick.